I am not necessarily sure where to start with this one. I have been reading a bunch of stories within this forum and it's helped a lot. But now I am ready to put my story on here, at least for a while, so I can get it out. D-Day was almost a year ago. My soon-to-be ex-wife, let's call her Jenny. Jenny and I have known each other since high school. Her older brother was my friend. We would flirt with each other, but didn't actually get equal because I was 4 years older than her. After graduating high school, I received an athletic scholarship and I went to college to play football. Unfortunately, my career was cut short because of an injury I sustained. When I got injured and was bedridden for 3 months at my parents' house, Jenny was still in high school and would come over after school to spend time with me. I could say that her presence contributed to my speedy recovery. She would visit after school and sometimes stay till dawn. My parents got used to her presence, and it wasn't long before we made our relationship official. I used to lay in bed and we would brainstorm about our future goals when we would eventually get married and what I would do after I recovered. I knew I couldn't continue college because I had already lost my scholarship because of my injury. Back then, I had a dream to eventually open a gym together and run it with her. I wasn't too bummed out about my injury and the end of my athletic career. Everything happened for a reason. All we could do was to dream before your dreams can come true. She promised to join me even if she was in college at the time. She would drop out and help me to run the business. After I recovered from my injury, I applied for a job at 24 Hours Fitness. There, I became a personal trainer and was building a list of trusted clients, hosting classes on meetup groups. I even became a yoga instructor and hosted free yoga on public parks for more exposure. I promoted myself on social media and had a sizable following. I was renting studios to do classes with paying clients, and I collaborated with fellow trainers to run classes for them. I desperately needed my own space. 2 years later, I opened a 2,500 square foot gym. I took a loan out to buy equipment and I wasn't generating enough to pay for additional employees, but I had Jenny. Jenny was my girlfriend at the time. Realizing that I needed support, she quit her school to help me run the business as promised years earlier. We couldn't afford to pay rent and utilities because we are already paying rent for the gym. We thought we could save money by sleeping at the gym. It was a small gym and we managed. Our membership grew slowly, month by month, through hard work and great customer service. We had enough to keep the lights on. It definitely wasn't easy, especially when we had a lot of competition from other big franchise gyms. About a year later, the business was stabilizing because we were able to pay off our loan for the equipment. Then we could afford to rent an apartment so we wouldn't be living in the gym. The business wasn't as profitable as I thought, but we were getting by. I soon realized that the only way to scale is to open another gym, which requires more time out of my day. But we had grit and determination to establish ourselves in this space. Our dream was alive, and it was easier to work harder for our dream because we could see the success, however slow it comes. If it wasn't for Jenny, I don't know if the business could have survived because I don't know any employee that would work for 3 years without pay. The first major problem we had in our relationship was caused by jealousy when a rumor started going on about some client claiming that we slept together. I had mostly female clients. A majority of the group classes are women. In short, 95% of my clients are women, not because I intentionally picked them or targeted them, but most men are too proud to have a fitness trainer because they feel like they could do without. Women, on the other hand, welcome it and they pay a lot of money for it. Since these women look up to me, they started to compete for my attention and started getting jealous amongst each other. In my case, a lady in my workout group class got jealous that I was paying more attention to another woman, which I wasn't. So she started to throw in comments to other women that we had something going. I guess to make other women jealous or to stay away from me, even though they all knew I had a girlfriend. You know how women are like when they gossip. Well, Jenny got wind of it, and I was in trouble. I swear to her that nothing happened. After much convincing, Jenny believed me. And even though she told me that she believed me, I knew she had a bit of a doubt. She would check on me during my classes and pop in and out during my training session and would get jealous when I trained attractive women, something that she never used to do. That was when things started to take a downturn in our relationship. I felt really bad about this. I wanted to do whatever I could to fix this. To me, Jenny was more than a girlfriend. She's a woman that I put above anyone else. She nursed me back to health, worked on our business without pay, and she was my ride or die chick for life. And it hurt me that she's beginning to question my commitment to her. That was when I decided to propose to her. It came as a surprise because I not only proposed, I bought her a car, which she badly needed at the time because we were sharing one car. We also took a week-long vacation on a cruise ship and she loved it. It was absolutely delightful to see her happy. When we came back from our vacation, she was rejuvenated. The fire that she had during the beginning of our relationship was back. It felt good to know the right button to push in your relationship and to know exactly what she needed without her mentioning it. 5 years later, after opening the gym, we were making enough profit to hire people for the first time. Jenny was no longer working a 16-hour shift. We also opened another gym that was larger than our current gym. We got to a point in our life when we were planning on building a family in a year time. Then disaster struck. Jenny was doing a deadlift and had a freaky back injury, so I recommended her to a sports doctor that helped nurse me back to shape when I had my injury in my college days. And I still see him at least once every 2 months for checkup. Her injury caused her to miss work for several weeks. She was going for physical therapy 3 times a week and wasn't allowed to stand for a prolonged period of time. Right about that time, we decided to get married. After we got married, she was still nursing her back injury, so she was home all the time, and I was running the two gym with my employees. It was a lot of stress for me, but I was a hard worker and didn't complain because I see the value in all my hard work. The only problem was that my wife started complaining that we weren't spending enough time together. And I thought she was right because I was only home for about 8 hours a day. And I spent most of the time at home eating and sleeping, unlike when I was with her all day when she was working at the gym. Then she started making friends outside our social circle. Two women in particular. I don't know anything about them, but they seemed to make her happy and occupied. She soon stopped pestering me about coming home early and spending more time with me, and it took a little pressure and stress off me as I focused on my business and making sure that she had a roof over her head. She began to do a lot of shopping, wearing brand name fashion, asking me for more money. Much of the influence were from her friends. I wasn't too bothered because the amount she was always asking were within reason. And even if it wasn't, I was willing to give it to her because of all the sacrifices she have done for me. One day, she told me that she was going on a cruise trip with her friends. It was a destination that we have planned on going on together, and I was bummed out that we weren't going together. I still supported her and asked her if she needed money, and she said that her friends would cover the trip. Jenny being away allowed me to put in more hours, and I even spoke to her on the phone during her trip. Nothing suspicious, and I heard her friends in the background, so there was no way I would have suspected that she was going with another man. When she came back from the trip, she became distant and less affectionate. We both had high excess drive, and we would do it multiple times. But it stopped entirely. When I initiate, she would act like I was forcing her. I started spicing things up by adding foreplay to keep it interesting. It was fun for a while, then it dried up again. I would ask her how her therapy was going, and she would say good, We used to go together to her doctor's appointment, but she suddenly stopped inviting me. And when I suggest that I come with her, she always gives one excuse or another. About 3 months after she went on the cruise trip, she broke the news to me that she was pregnant. I was a bit surprised because I thought she was on the pill and it wasn't planned. She told me that she had been taking the pill, but it failed. I heard that birth control is around 91% effective. Around 9 in 100 women using the combined pill will get pregnant in a year, so I figured she was one of the 9. I accepted the pregnancy and looked forward to becoming a dad. 2 months into her pregnancy, I started to suspect that something wasn't right. She became distant and would be texting all the time. Sometimes I would call to check on her and she wouldn't answer. I spoke to her about this and she would become defensive and would look for a reason to start a fight. I thought it was because of the hormone changes due to the pregnancy, so I avoided arguing with her and went along with the flow. One night when I came home, she told me that our relationship wasn't working out and that we were more like roommates than married couple. I was shocked. She told me that she wanted a divorce. It was like someone slapped me in the face and my ear was ringing. I pleaded with her that I would do whatever it takes to keep us together. It didn't make any sense to me, and I asked her how she would break up with me when she's pregnant with my baby, and she kept quiet. I asked her if someone else is in the picture, and she said no. I couldn't sleep that night. I went back to my office to think things through and get my finance in order. Our names were on both gyms, and I may lose both of them in our divorce. It didn't make sense to me why she wanted to destroy everything we suffered for so much to build together. I thought there was more to the story, so I started checking her iCloud out of curiosity, and I saw that she was texting someone named Doc a lot more than me. I opened the text message, and it was clear as day that she was having an affair with the doctor I recommended. And they both went on the cruise trip together, along with her friends, and the doctor paid for the trip for her and her friends. I went home immediately and confronted her. She admitted that she had been having an affair with the doctor for 6 months. She pretended as if she was crying, but I could see through her BS. It was clear that she checked out of the marriage long ago. I was just left in the dark. I asked her if that was why she was getting a divorce, and she said yes. She broke me. I didn't believe our relationship has gotten that bad. The doctor she was having an affair with was married with kids. To put things in perspective, I am 28 years old and she was 24. The doctor was 43 years old, almost twice her age. What hurt me more was when I asked her who the pregnancy belonged to. She said it was the doctor's. I was broken inside, but I remained calm. The constant exercise gave me the ability to be calm through difficult circumstances, and it came in handy. I asked her how stupid she thought she is to have a baby while she's married with a married man. And she told me that the doctor was planning on divorcing his wife as soon as she tells me that she's leaving me. I told her that she didn't tell me. I had to find out myself and confront her. She had been trying to tell me for the past 2 months, but didn't have the courage to. And she said she was relieved that I found out. She said she understand the betrayal and how I feel, and she was going to give me an amicable divorce and didn't want any part of the gym business we built together. She said she just want me not to fight them through the divorce or tarnish the doctor's reputation. In return, she will grant me a clean exit, no questions asked, because her and the doctor wanted to marry as soon as possible. It seemed like she had rehearsed what she needed to say to me with a lawyer hired by the doctor, and she had been coached on what to say. I was hurt that it came so easy to her. It was like she was a different person. To me, she meant more than my business. She was the love of my life. And to reduce the level of our relationship to business transaction just shows how she had checked out of the marriage long ago, and it was left to me to pick up the pieces and move on. It's hard to fight for someone that had already given up on you because she wanted a richer man. The doctor may have a lot more money than me, but will never respect her because he had money before he married her. I guess she was tired of struggling with me and ran for the exit now. If she was smart, she would have known that my business was about to blow up. Everything that we worked for over the years was about to come together. I didn't understand why she would struggle and hustle for me for a long time and then quit while she was almost at the top. I guess she must not love me any longer. I found out that the doctor was giving his wife a divorce as well, and he was giving her everything she requested in the divorce, so the divorce would go quickly. I guess because he's a higher earner, he will be able to make back everything in a few years. The following day, my wife sent a process server to serve me in my place of business, which was embarrassing and totally uncalled for. I called her to protest, and she had already blocked my phone number, which was unprecedented. When I got home, she had moved all her things from our home. I was devastated. For the very first time in my life, I felt lonely, betrayed, and depressed. I didn't stay down because I have been through tough challenges all my life. With tenacity and assurance, I signed a divorce paper to allow her freedom to marry the doctor. I didn't try to confront the doctor or talk bad about him because that was part of the signed agreement. He would steal my wife, and in return, I wouldn't say anything about it. If I do, I will lose the business that I have worked so hard for. That was a difficult position to bargain with, but what can I do? Jenny, the wife that we went through a lot together, no longer wants me. Fighting for her or going to war for her would be crying over spilt milk. 2 days after signing my divorce agreement, my ex-wife announced our divorce on Facebook and wrote a BS message on how we grew apart and how I was a great partner. It made me sick just reading it, but I had to move on. I focused on my work and building my business. I heard that the doctor rented a luxury apartment for both of them to live in. He gave his betrayed wife the house, I guess because he could easily buy another one. 2 months later, I was browsing on Facebook and I saw a picture of both of them. The doctor was showing off Jenny, his new trophy wife, touching her pregnancy, showing off her diamond engagement ring. It made my skin crawl. They were all over the place. It was like almost any time I turned on social media, I would see a post of both of them. I couldn't stay off social media because it was part of my business. Officially, they were not married yet. It would take 6 months for the divorce to be finalized and for the judge to sign the divorce decree. So technically, we are still married, even though all the documents and asset separation had been agreed upon. 4 months after I signed the divorce paper, I saw a devastating news on Facebook. Jenny and the doctor went on a July 4th party on the lake with his boat, and the doctor's boat collided with another boat, resulting to the doctor's death at the scene. And Jenny had some minor injuries. Several people were injured as well, but 2 people died, including the doctor. Even though I shouldn't feel sorry, if the doctor would have stayed with his wife and not chasing after mine, then he would have still been alive. Maybe he wouldn't be on that boat. At the time of the accident, Jenny was about 6 months pregnant and didn't get hurt in the accident, only minor flesh wounds. I would have called her to share my condolences, but she already blocked my number. About 3 weeks later, I got summoned to court. Turns out that Jenny was trying to get her lawyer to throw out the divorce agreement that we have already signed. We went to court, and after the judge revealed our case, told her that the agreement was already signed and she can't change it because her condition changed. Obviously, she never married the doctor, so she wasn't entitled to any of his money. The judge told her that there was no way he would consider dismissing the agreement and that the world doesn't revolve around her wish. Jenny and the doctor wanted the quick divorce and hoped to have a great life if the doctor was alive. The suffering with me on my business would be over, but death had a different plan. The judge said that her swapping husband plan didn't work, and now she's trying to put everything back on me after she betrayed my trust. She told the judge that she's entitled to half of my business because we built it together, and that she dropped out of college for my business and had no way of making ends meet because she had no marketable skills and had a baby on the way. The judge told her to get her resume together and find a childcare or her family member to help her out. All she kept saying is that it was unfair, and she wouldn't even look at me in court. I told her that everything that happened to us was her decision, and she hung a noose and hanged herself. And I'm just a bystander in all this. After she lost the case and the judge granted us a divorce, as originally agreed upon, she unblocked my number and started trying to make a deal with me, which was unbelievable. How she thought she could manipulate me now that I know all her tricks. It's still saddening to this day because she was my one true love. Sadly, things got so bad for her, she had to give up the child for adoption and now working at a restaurant as a server. I knew that because I went to the restaurant Jenny was working at with my new girlfriend a few months after the divorce was finalized. I timed it so she would be working that day and serve me and my new girlfriend. When she came to my table and saw me and my girlfriend, she broke down and started crying. It was supposed to be a revenge coming there for my satisfaction because I was hurt by her betrayal, but it backfired on me because I started crying as well. I walked out of the restaurant, and that was the last time I saw her. I swear never to marry again. As a personal trainer who now owns 3 gyms and making good money, finding women is easy. So I just have to make sure I protect my asset and never get married, unless with an ironclad prenup.